Hello friends, today we'll be unboxing the Eufy S1 Pro Robot Vacuum Mop 2-in-1 along with the accessory box, which includes the Kickstarter stretch goals and their mailing list sign-up bonus. We will start off by unboxing the provided accessories. Notably on the box there's a warning about lithium batteries being in the package, and the sticker states that it's for a Eufy Security Eufy Cam 3 2+1 kit. In this package we have two boxes containing one cleaning solution cartridge each, two boxes containing 3 dust bags each, and the official S1 Pro accessory kit. We'll start off by unboxing a bottle of cleaning solution. This is a proprietary cartridge that holds 600 milliliters of cleaning solution. It goes directly into the base station. This is mixed ratio of 1:100 with tap water to create 60 liters of mop water. I'm very disappointed to see that this is non-refillable, a very poor attempt at vendor lock-in, and you can read about people trying to refill these with syringes online. Next we'll unbox the dust bags. These come 3 to a box. These are installed directly into the base station, and in addition to providing you with another consumable Eufy product, they provide both the filtration and the dust collection. Keeping the product simple, as you can see, there's a very cool and elegant design for how you open and close the input, and the bag media itself is used as a filter. Now we will unbox the provided accessory kit. Underneath the plastic tray you can see there are 3 dust bags. Start off by looking at the side brushes. There's both a red and a gray style, as this machine has 2 different brush arm shapes depending on if the brush goes on the left or the right side of the machine. I previously owned the G30, and these brush arms are slightly softer as they feel to be made of some sort of silicone or rubber. Next we'll look at the dust filter. Notably, there's no type of attachment mechanism or clip or anything on the filter itself, just a handle on the top to help with installation and removal. Next up we'll look at the rolling mop. It's kind of like a paint roller. It's gray in color to try and hide the dirt that it picks up. This end is hollow. The motor goes into this end to spin it. And on the other end, this red piece is a button that helps with the clip to hold it in, and it spins freely as the motor spins the mop. Here's a better look at the plus-shaped structure inside that the motor engages with to spin the rolling mop. We'll look at the rolling brush. Interesting, this is made out of a soft rubber. There's no longer any bristles to try and prevent hair from getting stuck. This side has a bearing. The other side is open, allowing for the rubber to squish, also allowing for hair to slowly make its way to this end and off the brush and hopefully into the dustbin. Now let's take a look at the brush guard. In previous Eufy robot vacuums like my G30, this rubber strip was a user replaceable component that Eufy would sell you. Now it is being sold as part of this brush guard, making a lifetime component a replaceable component. You can see the mounting mechanism is also now more robust and has changed because this entire brush guard assembly now moves up and down, as you'll see later in this video. Brush guard also contained this random piece of fabric which I tried to remove. I think it may have been intentionally glued in place to try and help with vibrations or squeaking noises from the roller brush. Lastly, and most interestingly, they provided us with a set of replacement components for the dirty water system on board the robot vacuum. These fold-out metal rings are just to be used as handles to make removal and installation easier, as they all contain a gasket and have a very tight fit with the machine. Looking at part number 1 here, the top half is a metal screen filter that the vacuum will apply suction to, and on the bottom half is a one-way valve. Looking at part number 2 here, we again have a metal handle to help with installation, and then we have 2 holes and some sort of filter media within. This is to filter the air that the robot is going to suck from the dirty water reservoir. Looking at part number 3 here, there's again a flip-up handle to help with installation removal. This part is just a one-way valve, and the height differential between the 2 holes is to prevent you from installing it backwards. This one-way valve is used for when the robot wants to dispose of dirty water into the base. Now we will unbox the device itself. For those interested, here's a sticker on the side of the box. Smaller white box right here is what contains the machine itself. The vacuum also comes with some accessories and everything you need to use in the box. Cleaning solution, power cord, brush for cleaning, air filter, dust bags, silica gel for dehumidifying. You also get a spare rolling mop. Now we'll unbox the robot itself. Underneath the robot are these 2 sets of side brushes and some silica gel to reduce the humidity in the packaging. Looking at the outside of the machine, we have a return home button and then a start stop button. We have this giant slot for the LiDAR. And on the front we have a time of flight sensor that's kind of similar to an iPhone's Face ID and a regular RGB camera. Here's a better look on the slot in the front of the machine. In the center you'll see what's a LiDAR, which is usually a dome on top of the robot vacuum being hidden here. To the left of that is what appears to be a filter for the vacuum pump for the mopping system we'll talk about later. To the right of that appears to be a cooling fan. Continuing to look at the outside of the machine, we notice that there's a collision bumper similar to previous models that pivots on the center, allowing the machine to tell if the collision's on the left side or the right side of the machine. Looking at the rear of the machine, there's 2 metal contacts for the dock to charge the machine, and there's these 2 holes. One is fake and one is used to fill the machine with water. Looking at the right side of the machine, there's this infrared proximity sensor which is used for wall following. It helps the robot navigate as close to the wall as possible without colliding to it. There's also the vacuum exhaust, which is very high, which I like, as unlike on previous models, this won't blow dust as on the ground around. Comparison, here's my old Eufy G30, which has the exhaust lower on the side. It'll sometimes blow dirt and dust around the room. Here's some size comparison photos with the Eufy G30. Note that the hollow cavity for the LiDAR integrated into the new Eufy S1 Pro makes the machine significantly taller. Flipping the machine over, you can see similar to previous machines, There is 6 infrared drop sensors on the perimeter, an unpowered swivel wheel at the front, and 2 holes used for the base station's dust collection feature we'll talk about later. So of course the rolling mop, wheels are spring loaded. Also worth knowing there's no user serviceable battery compartment. Now we'll install our color coded side brushes, gray to gray, red to red. At the front of the machine, next to the swivel wheel, there is a white circle. This is the carpet detection sensor. This is an ultrasonic sensor that plays an ultrasonic noise that us humans can't hear and listens for the echo. Depending on the strength of the echo, it'll determine whether or not the machine is operating on carpet, and uses this to retract the mop. Because there's only one of these sensors and because carpets can have irregular shapes, what I've noticed is that it maps the entire large area as being unmoppable instead of precisely mapping out the perimeter of the carpet. For reference, here's an example of what an irregular shaped carpet could look like. Back at the vacuum, as you can see here, the entire rolling brush assembly actually moves up and down. Try and keep it close to the floor. Removing the brush guard, and then removing the roller. Taking a closer look, we can see the rolling brush housing is attached to the dustbin using this flexible rubber bit. This appears to not be user serviceable, which I am slightly concerned about, as this will be doing a lot of flexing and a lot of dirt will be hitting this. You can also directly see the dustbin and its contained air filter. Moving on, we can see these giant holes in the bottom of the machine. These are actuated using air pressure, not mechanically. When the machine is docked, these overlap with the holes on the base station, which is how the dust is sucked out. Finally, we have the mop roller. It's one button to remove that slides out off the motor. Yeah, the motor at the very end here, you can see there's this brush, which appears to be an afterthought. I'm not sure what it's there for. Flipping the machine back over, we can remove this magnetically attached top cover. Using this gray handle, we can remove the dustbin. The gray trapezoidal hole you see goes to the rolling brush. At the bottom, you can see 2 holes for the dust extraction to the base stand. And turning the machine around, you can see the hole for the suction motor further back in the machine. Looking at the dustbin, we can see at the front, there's this trapezoidal hole that goes to the rolling brush. And this side, there's that hole that goes to the suction motor, and there's this door to manually clean out large debris. Also see the pre-screen mesh and the filter on top. And at the top of this dust bin, see there's a door to remove the filter. But the pre-screen does not appear to be removable. I think this may be intentional, as some people likely try to operate their vacuum without the filter installed, which results in the mesh in front of the suction motor clogging, potentially permanently damaging the machine. Also, I think the pre-screen is necessary because it provides a smooth surface for dust to be sucked out by the base station. So otherwise, sucking dust out of the pleats of the filter media may be more difficult. From this angle, we can also see the hole that the suction motor is sucking through. So air goes through that pre-filter screen, through that filter, and out that hole to the suction motor. Looking at the bottom of the dustbin, we can see the holes for the base station to suck the dust out. Notably, there's 2 holes, and these are completely mechanical, powered by airflow. One of them is spring-loaded and retracts into the dustbin, and the other one is more or less a rubber flap that dust is sucked out of. Interestingly, these are likely mounted to the dustbin directly, as this is a replaceable component, and also the spring that holds the air intake side must be more powerful than the suction of the vacuum itself, as otherwise it would leak vacuum. Also interestingly, 2 holes are likely used because this dustbin does not seal, so fresh air has to be blown in while dirt is sucked out, so otherwise air will be sucked in past the rolling brush. As we reinstall the dustbin, notice that on the left side of the machine, also under the cover, there's an on-off slider switch. There's a cover for what may have been a button that doesn't exist anymore, and a red synchronization button for connecting to new Wi-Fi. And at the very back of the machine, if we push these 2 buttons down, we can remove the dirty water reservoir. Looking at the machine with the dirty water reservoir removed, we can see the rolling brush. We can also see the single connection hose to the dirty water reservoir goes to a vacuum pump within the machine. Back to looking at the dirty water reservoir, we can see these 2 buttons we depress to remove it. All they do is push the tab down for it to slide out. You can also see that there's a scraper on the front of this. This scrapes against the rolling brush to try and get dirty water off of it. There is no motors, nothing moves. The scraper itself has this filter. It is removed by pulling on it. See, the filter and the water collection area will separate. They are separate colors to make them easy to distinguish. And they give you this handle. There's also this rubber cord between the 2 to ensure you always try to install it the correct orientation. Water that's scraped off the roller brush will collect in this area right here. Within it, you can see there's this tiny hole that this water is going to be sucked out of and into the dirty water reservoir on board the vacuum. This hole is intentionally small to prevent large objects from getting stuck in the machine's plumbing. On the flip side, this is where the water is going to be sucked out of. I've had this clog on me twice, the first time using the machine, but after the floor has been cleaned a few times, it seems to be working reasonably well. Turning our attention back to the main reservoir, we can see this is the hole that the water from the scraper reservoir is sucked through. There's this convenient handle to open and clean this reservoir. Note that there is a seal around the edge of the door as this is under pressure. So within, we can see that there are 2 hoses that look like they go to that scraper reservoir, but only the right one is actually connected to it. The left one actually has a hole and is connected to the entire chamber my finger's currently in. Following the path of water with my finger, it starts from that scraper reservoir into this right hose and then up into number 1 here. This is one of the components that came with our accessory kit. So you can see with number 1 removed, the hose actually goes directly up and then into the main reservoir. You can see my finger poking through right there. Number 1 is just a one-way valve. Also notable is this hose that's sticking out right here. This is a suction hose from the machine. So you can see the one-way valve at the top half of this, and then there's a filter for the suction from the machine. So the machine effectively applies suction to the entire dirty water reservoir. There's what sucks water from that scraper into that large chamber. You can also see this white thing right here. This is a float to allow the machine to know when the dirty water reservoir is full. Has a magnet, and then there's a Hall effect sensor on the machine for it to know when it's in the up position. You can see me simulating it being full by flipping it over. So notable is that it's positioned where the air suction is applied from, because they're hoping the suction keeps it clean. Using my finger to trace that airline, we can see it goes across and through number 2. Let's pull out number 2 for a second. Number 2 is a filter to prevent dirt from going into the suction pump on board the machine. So we can see it enters from the side of number 2 and then exits the top of number 2. That's the hose that goes across the machine. And the top is just a bend, and it goes out the top of the reservoir, and that is how it's connected to the machine. Finally, let's open the reservoir back up, and you can see the hole right there, and that goes to the hose on the left. Now tracing the hose on the left, it goes to number 3, so let's remove number 3 here. There's 2 holes for number 3. Okay. Looking at number 3 here, we can see that one side is longer than the other to prevent you from installing it backwards. Number 3 is just a one-way valve. It's a one-way valve from that hose to this hole on the bottom of the reservoir, and this is how the machine shoots water out when it's on the dock to empty out the dirty water reservoir. To recap, when the machine applies a vacuum to this reservoir, water is sucked from that smaller wiper area into the main reservoir. And when the machine applies pressure to the main reservoir, water is pushed out to that hole in the bottom of the reservoir, and the one-way valves are what allows for this to happen. Now we'll switch to looking at the base station. Not too much going on here. Notably, there's infrared lights on the side to help the machine locate the base station. And there's this removable mop cleaning cover thing. The bottom here is the holes for it to blow dry, and then there's a drain hole. The base station knows this is installed by using a Hall effect sensor to detect the tiny magnet next to that drain hole. Taking a closer look at where the robot docks with the base station, we can see rollers to help it get on this stand. You can also see the one hose there for water to be put into the mop, an IR sensor in the middle, spring-loaded contacts for charging, and of course the 2 holes for dust collection. Taking a closer look at the clean water reservoir, you can see there's a pickup tube, and there's a float with a magnet on that pickup tube. That's how the machine detects the water level within the reservoir. Notably, they're using a pickup tube, so this can't leak while you're carrying it around your home, which is nice. Some contacts on the bottom for that ozone generator and within. And back here is the cleaning solution. Down here is where the dust bag goes. The dust bag both holds the dust and acts as a filter. It's very cool is when you pull the handle to remove the dust bag, it actually closes the bag off. See the open and close action of the dust bag. Looking down there, you can see in the back there's a vent. It's where the air is sucked through the bag. Also, if you pay attention where the front of the dust bag slid in, you can see there's a micro switch hidden in that railing. Taking a quick look at the dirty water reservoir at the top left corner, we can see there's a magnet. That's how the machine detects this is installed, and there's these 2 ports. One of them is used to put dirty water into this reservoir, and one of them is a vent for the reservoir. Interestingly, the door has a seal on it, and the right side is how dirty water enters this reservoir, and on the left side there is this float. When the reservoir is full, it blocks the vent, preventing more dirty water from being added to the reservoir, which I think is a really neat design. This is why the door needs a seal. There may be some sort of filtration as well on this vent to prevent the base from making a weird smell. Here's the power consumption sticker on the back of the base station. Notably, this machine does not use as much power as I thought it would. I was under the impression that while mop cleaning, It would use a crap ton of power and try to heat the water up, but that does not appear to be the case. Just some quick final remarks. During setup, this machine requires that you provide them with precise location services in the Eufy app, which I found kind of creepy. I also noticed that because this robot is not round and not able to spin in place like a round robot would, it will not enter tight spaces like underneath chairs or around toilets. Because of this, it basically does not mop around tight spaces because the mop is on the very rear of the machine. It would need to approach these spaces in reverse, which it refuses to do. Here's a screenshot from the Eufy Kickstarter campaign FAQ. This vacuum does a lot to try and keep the mop roller clean by having 2 side brushes. It requires that you always vacuum while mopping. It will not allow you to just mop. They also go an extra step and recommend that you vacuum your complete home before mopping. This is all done because the mop is unable to handle any type of dirt on the ground. It will very quickly clog up the scraper's tiny reservoir we saw earlier.